What are examples of a pulp-based filter aid to be added when using natural chemistry stain-free, which the stain-free treatment does indicate with a cartridge or sand filter to use a pulp-based filter aid, or with DE to make sure the DE is fully charged.
So the question is, what pulp-based?
What are examples?
What are examples, like brands?
Well, I guess maybe somebody wants to know more about what.
Okay, so let's take this question in a direction that might make sense. Let's not talk about manufacturing product. Let's talk about pulp-based things. So your three basic types of filters on the market are a sand filter, which the media can be silica sand, it could be glass, it could be there's all kinds of different stuff that could be used. There's crushed seashells, there's all kinds of stuff that could be used as the media. And what happens is the water passes through that media down to the bottom, collected at the bottom through a series of fingers that have slits in them, and returns, leaves the debris in the water, returns the clean water through these little slits back up the collector tube and back out. We have DE filters. DE filters on the inside could have like fingers hanging off of them. They could have fins in them, which is like a plastic matrix with a cloth over it. And when you add DE, which is diatomaceous earth, which is basically crushed up seashell, you add it and it skim coats the surface of that. So when water is forced through it, all the debris gets caught on the diatomaceous earth. The clean water goes through into that little matrix and down to a collector tube and out. On a cartridge filter, you have the water comes into the housing. It gets pushed through basically a paper filter. The debris gets caught on the outside of the paper filter. Clean water gets squeezed through a collection tube and back. They all have a collection tube and they have water passing through something. To increase the amount of filtration, meaning the smaller the micron of debris that can get through the filter, you can enhance it with a pulp of some type. So now what you're doing is you're coating. You're either coating the surface of the sand, or you're coating the fin of the DE filter, or you're coating the paper filter. So now the micron filtration, it requires only the smallest of particles can go through. And the smaller the particle that goes through, the cleaner it is. So a sand filter has a certain micron filtration by itself, but if you added a pulp type media to it, you can decrease the size of the molecule that can make it through, which the smaller the molecule can go through, the cleaner the water is. Pure water would go through without any problem. It's what's in it that keeps it from being pushed through. So are there products available? Sure. Do I have names and brands of things that make any sense to me? No. Conceptually, the idea is good. However, having been doing this for so long, by looking at a pool, a clean pool side by side, I couldn't tell you that one's sand, that one's DE, and that one's cartridge. On a micron filtration, if we could pull out our microscope and look at the water, you could certainly say, well, look at this water sample, it's cleaner than this one, cleaner than this one. Is it enough for me as a 30 plus year expert in the industry? Could I really tell the difference? No. Unless there's extenuating circumstances like source waters and things that would help me go, oh, well, this one's more likely a type of filter. Without that, I wouldn't know. So adding a whole nother layer of beyond the filtration and what comes with the filter, now we're adding an additional media, a pulp media that creates a matrix to not let water get through. We're doing a couple things. We're increasing the pressure in the tank, not necessarily a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing, which means if we increase the pressure in the tank, we're reducing the flow of water out. Now we're pushing harder to push the water through and trap the debris to get the water back to the filter, get it back to the pool. So I don't like the idea of increasing the pressure in the tank any more than it has to be. If I can't tell the difference in terms of water clarity, why would I do it? If we have a very specific reason that we would want to add an additional media to the filter to help make the micron filtration better, and I can't even tell you what that scenario would be, because 9 times out of 10, a sand filter provides enough clean water that it looks clean and beautiful, and you can read a quarter on the bottom, the date on a quarter on the bottom of a pool. Now, maybe a sand filter, you can't read the date of a dime on the bottom of the pool, but you can read the quarter. Is it enough of a difference to say gotta have one versus another? No. So the issue of adding a media, while is so incrementally small of a value, to me, it wouldn't be worth it. Again, unless you're in a very specific situation. So a long story to talk about all the different medias and how they work, the outcome is close enough to the same. You can't look at one pool and go, oh, that one clearly is sand and that one clearly is DE, unless there's other variable factors. But in terms of is it clean enough and safe enough to swim in? Yes. To me, that's kind of the bottom line that matters.